In the dead of night, while much of the world remained in slumber, an event unfolded that would quietly ripple across the global stage. Ibrahim Traore, the young and steadfast leader of Burkina Faso, boarded a Russian government aircraft bound for Moscow. This was no ordinary diplomatic flight, it was an intentional, high-security mission wrapped in potent symbolism and secrecy, pointing to a deeper geopolitical shift. The world is now asking, why did he depart at midnight? Why did Russian officials personally escort him? And why has this particular African leader become a symbol whose moves are shaking the foundations of the global order? From the moment Ibrahim Traore rose to power in Burkina Faso, he has been a figure constantly surrounded by danger. Foreign adversaries, internal threats, and ideological foes have marked his short yet impactful leadership. Within just 2 years, he has survived no fewer than 18 assassination attempts and multiple coup plots. His name has become closely associated with fierce resistance, national sovereignty, and unyielding patriotism. Given this context, it makes sense that even his trip to Moscow would be enveloped in strategic caution. According to eyewitnesses, Traore's departure from Ouagadougou took place around midnight, under intense security, with key members of his administration and the Russian ambassador personally present. It wasn't just a routine send-off. It symbolized the deepening ties between Burkina Faso and Russia, a partnership many in the West may have underestimated. Few presidents in recent history have left their countries in such a clandestine manner on a foreign state aircraft accompanied by top-level diplomats. What was the reason for Russia sending one of its prestigious Ilyushin Il-96-300 aircraft to retrieve Traore? Was it to protect him from potential attacks, such as drone threats, allegedly posed by Ukraine or other adversaries? This trip came shortly after U.S. General Michael Langley, head of AFRICOM, accused Traore of using his nation's gold revenues for personal protection, an accusation that sparked worldwide protests from African youths defending their leader and denouncing Western interference. Could Russia's gesture be a direct response to that accusation? By personally flying Traore to Moscow, President Vladimir Putin may have been sending a clear message. He is not alone. We stand with him. It could also be a public affirmation of Traore's rising status in the new multipolar world. Upon landing at Vnukovo International Airport, the reception was anything but ordinary. A red carpet was rolled out, and high-ranking Russian officials stood waiting. Traore emerged not in a conventional suit but in full military regalia, his pistol visible at his waist. It was a striking image, one that conveyed sovereignty, not submission. His military attire was not just a fashion statement, it was a declaration. He was there not as a subordinate leader seeking favors, but as a revolutionary representing his nation with pride. Unlike other dignitaries who had come to attend Russia's 80th Victory Day celebrations, Traore stood out. Over the next 2 days, his presence in Moscow became a major talking point. He was seen alongside global leaders such as China's Xi Jinping, Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, Brazil's Lula da Silva, and several African presidents at a formal dinner hosted by Putin. But this gathering was more than a ceremonial event. The warmth and mutual respect between Putin and Traore were palpable. In one moment, Putin was seen resting his hand on Traore's shoulder, thanking the assembled leaders for their courage in defying global pressure to support Russia. Putin's voice quivered slightly as he recalled the loss of 27 million Soviet lives during World War II, emphasizing the emotional and historical weight of the gathering. It became evident that this was not just a victory parade, it was a moment of global realignment. The following day saw the full-scale Victory Day parade unfold in spectacular fashion. Tanks roared across Red Square. Fighter jets painted the skies in vivid colors. Flags from around the world waved in unison with Russia's tricolor. And once again, it was Traore who drew significant attention. Clad in his military uniform without a coat, he stood confidently beside older leaders wearing suits and heavy outerwear. Yet in that lineup, none appeared more resolute. During the wreath-laying ceremony at the tomb of the unknown soldier, Traore offered a moment that resonated deeply. As others bowed their heads in solemn remembrance, Traore chose instead to raise a crisp military salute. In that simple gesture, He honored fallen soldiers not just with respect, but as a fellow warrior. It was a deeply moving moment, a symbolic alignment with the ideals of sacrifice, struggle, and sovereignty. Observers worldwide took notice. His salute, viewed as an act of brotherhood with Russian wartime memory, was broadcast widely. Putin, appearing visibly emotional, watched closely. In that silent salute, many saw the unspoken bond of two nations connected by resilience and shared opposition to external domination. Later, during a post-parade reception, Putin once again addressed his guests, thanking them for their bravery and resolve. Though he didn't call anyone out by name, his gaze reportedly lingered on Traoré. In diplomatic settings, subtle cues often speak louder than words. Traoré remained in his usual military outfit even at the reception where others opted for refined formal wear. It wasn't defiance, it was authenticity. He had come as a soldier of his people not to impress but to affirm his role. But his Moscow visit wasn't just symbolic. Traoré held a bilateral meeting with Venezuela's President Maduro where the chemistry was evident. Both leaders, marginalized by the West and burdened with sanctions, share a common cause: sovereignty and resilience. Their discussions spanned military cooperation, food security, renewable energy, and even creating shared media platforms to challenge dominant Western narratives. Maduro referred to Traoré as the brave African lion, saying he represents the hopes of Africa's youth. These interactions suggest the possible birth of a new international alliance, an informal bloc of nations bound not by ideology, but by mutual resistance to hegemony and a shared dream of self-determination. Back in Burkina Faso, the reaction was electric. Social media platforms lit up with images of Traoré in Moscow, saluting at memorials, sharing laughter with Maduro, and seated near Putin. Hashtags like #Traoré the Lion and #Africa Rises trended across the region. In cities like Ouagadougou and Bobo Dioulasso, people organized community watch parties to replay the Moscow events. For many young Africans, Traoré is not just a head of state, he is a living symbol of possibility, of leadership grounded in principle. Beyond the symbolism, there were practical dimensions to the visit. Reports indicate that discussions took place concerning Russian investments in key sectors of Burkina Faso's economy, including mining, agriculture, and energy. One proposal reportedly included the construction of a Russian-led energy plant in Ouagadougou and technology-sharing initiatives focused on rural development. Of course, some analysts urge caution. Dependence on any single global power carries risks. However, Traoré appears to be hedging wisely by also engaging with China, Iran, Turkey, and Venezuela. This diversified strategy aims to shield Burkina Faso from the vulnerabilities that come with aligning too closely with any one partner, while maximizing opportunities for growth and development. This form of multipolar diplomacy isn't new, but has historically been dangerous for African leaders. Burkina Faso's own Thomas Sankara, a revolutionary icon, was assassinated in 1987 for pursuing similar ideals. Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, Patrice Lumumba of Congo, and Muammar Gaddafi of Libya all suffered for challenging Western dominance. Traoré, however, seems to have learned from their experiences. He surrounds himself with loyal allies, both domestically and internationally, to fortify his position against external threats. As power dynamics shift on the global stage, Burkina Faso has become a country to watch. The question now is, can a relatively small West African nation, led by a 36-year-old soldier, truly alter the trajectory of international relations? Could his discreet journey to Moscow mark the beginning of a broader awakening for a continent long subjected to foreign control? If the past few days in Moscow offer any clue, the answer may be yes. Traoré's midnight flight, his bold salute, and his steadfast posture demonstrate that leadership today is not just about signing treaties or attending summits. It's about having the courage to stand tall on your principles. What do you think Traoré's actions signal for the future of Africa? Are we witnessing the rise of a new movement for self-reliance and continental dignity, or is this a bold gamble in an uncertain world? We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, like and share this story, and subscribe as we continue to bring you compelling narratives from across Africa. Ibrahim Traore's journey is just beginning, but one thing is clear: his steps are deliberate, his stance is firm, and the world can no longer look away. If you believe in an Africa charting its own course, rooted in dignity and bold leadership, then support this message. Like this video, share it widely, and subscribe to Car Talks, where we spotlight Africa's transformation and bring the continent's stories to the global stage.